Hey everybody, and welcome to the Shadow Artist Experiment. As always, I'm your host Josh Bell, and with me is the lovely Gabby.
He's like, I'm not doing it today.
Well, because you said you like when I just call you Gabby.
I like
so
Gabby.
then I was about ready to say your last name, and then I was like,
no.
Just the pause there, yeah.
A good pause.
So,
taking all the gabbiness.
Taking in all the gabbiness, yes.
Yeah, this is
And Gabby is dressed absolutely beautifully today. I like shining, shimmering, splendid is the words that come to mind.
It's Mint Market again, I gotta say.
Oh, really?
And it's all their sale rack. I stole this one from my daughter. She was gonna buy it.
You stole your word last week.
It's so funny because I went in and I found this one, and she'd already shown it to me the week prior that she was saving it for herself, but I found it on the racks. And I just thought, well, maybe they had a duplicate or something, whatever. And so I'm grabbing it, and she's like, that's the one I showed you last week. And I'm like, well, why didn't you get it? It was only $10.
Yeah.
And she's like, because I'm moving out and I can't spend any money.
Oh, and so you bought it.
So I bought it. In my defense, you can say that I'll wear it like this summer and I'll pass it on to her. So she'll eventually, they raid my closets all the time.
Yeah, which is good because you have way more clothes than you need.
I have way more clothes than I need.
Yeah.
And she steals my shoes even though we're not even the same shoe size.
You know, that's what's great about being married.
You wear each other's clothes?
We do. We wear each other, like, we have, like...
I never got that. I want to have a guy that's, like, my own size.
That wears the same dresses.
Clothes.
That wears the dresses that you wear. To be fair, you could get around that, I think. You could definitely, I think you would definitely be open to somebody who has, like, that kind of non-binariness.
Some non-binariness?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can... You know, I've never been attracted to a drag queen though. I love them.
Well, see, there's a difference because like we always talk about energy, and I mean.
But I'm definitely drag queen vibes. I mean.
Sometimes, oh my god, I've seen your makeup sometimes. Like sometimes Gabby's makeup is like divine level, like. Divine the drag queen.
And my dress, like let's be real here.
That's really true. You do go.
I'm wearing feathers right now.
Yeah, Gabby always like if you like
satin and feathers.
You can see her now, but. When she gets dressed up like to the nines, she's got all the hoop skirts like that are all the way out to here.
I love a good wig.
Yeah.
I don't know if there can be two queens in the house.
But I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm saying like I feel like when it comes to somebody like when it comes to you, it's like you do kind of want that masculine energy, but I think that kind of effeminate flair. That I think
I can go for that.
Yeah, and somebody who I think you would be really into that.
I love a man in a kilt.
It's one step away. I've never worn a kilt. I really want a kilt.
You'd kill it in a kilt.
I would kill it in a kilt.
You would so kill it in the kilt.
I would slay, as they would say.
You guys could do wedding kilts. That's a thing.
Oh my god,
I wish. You could both get kilts for the wedding and kilt it up.
Yeah, they're nice and breezy from what I hear.
I've worn quite a few kilts in my life, but I don't usually go the non-underwear route that men in kilts do.
Yeah, it's standard.
I hear.
Actually, so there's this really cute. So when I was over in Scotland a few years ago, they actually had the tartan that was made for Princess Diana, and I was like, now that I think about it, like, it's like baby blue and pink. You would look so cute in a kilt like that. Yeah,
we're McDonald clan, so we're the bright orange.
McDonald's? I'm
Old
Bell.
McDonald Hannah Farm.
Bell.
Yeah,
the Bell clan.
Bell clan.
What was
McCary was my... But it turns out my dad did years and years of genealogy. We're just like the commercial. He had us
and now he can just download the app.
All back to Scott Irish. We had our kilt. I grew up with going to the games where the men are chugging tree logs at each other, and Scottish dancing, the Highland Games every year with my dad hanging out at these. Grew up with it. Guess what? I'm Welsh. 2% Scott Irish.
Yeah.
2. All those Scottish games, all that Highland dancing.
Well, there's also like
there's
also something to be said about culture too. Like, I feel like you can be like I think about Michael. Michael is called like he is Jewish and Roman Catholic, and his mother was Austrian. Her family was from Austria, and she was Jewish, and his father like Italy, and he's Colombian because he was adopted. But like he still grew up with that background because of and when you early in the years, like it was all the holidays. We were actually talking about this recently, and he still holds on to that, like, and in the same way that you can still hold on to being Scottish. It's not like it's like that 2% also means you're not appropriating.
I'm all the way on the other end of what you just described from Michael. So I'm like a daughter of the revolution on both sides.
Yeah.
So my people we're just Heinz 57 American. Like honestly, that's we are white trash from way back. I am related to the Hatfields of the Hatfields and McCoys. So I am.
I don't know what
Rebecca
that means.
What? How are you American and not know that?
Because I grew up in South Dakota and we didn't care about anything that happened out here or over there.
It's the most it's Family Feud before there was Family Feud. It's the most famous feud in all of American history, the Hatfields and McCoys. You have homework. You have to look them up.
I have homework.
Yeah. Backwoods feud. They feuded for many. They might still be feuding.
Well, just like most people in America.
So I got it from.
Oh, I have my glasses still sitting there. So after that little ditty into our lives, how were you doing with your check-in this week?
Okay, check-in for like morning pages, good.
Yeah.
I didn't do them today, but I will get them done.
I got mine done this morning.
I've been really good. I'm still doing the meditation. I've been really great about getting my meditation in.
Okay, I have something to say about that when it comes to me.
I meditated in the bathtub yesterday. I had a migraine, and so I took my ass to the bath. And
Still yesterday?
Yep. It was a 3-day affair. Oh my God, it was awful. But instead of avoiding...
Side note, Gabby skipped out on going to Pride with me because she had a headache. Heard that excuse before. Headache. I know.
It was
really
I
bad.
really wanted to go.
Yeah.
And it would have been my first Pride too, and I really wanted to go with you.
You've never been to Pride?
Not in New York. I've been to Jersey City Pride. We did Teen Pride in Jersey City.
Yeah, you killed it. I literally just so you know what you missed. I took an edible. I walked all the way. I walked I got off at Christopher Street. I walked up the parade route, and then I went across the street and walked down the parade route. Realized I have not eaten anything, and I've drank 3 bottles of water, and made it back into Jersey City 2 hours in the city.
That was actually what I was thinking about. So you did it exactly the way that maybe I could have done it. I mean, if we had planned a little bit better. So I went and taught yoga, came back, and I didn't even teach my second yoga class.
Yeah.
I left it canceled. I canceled with them to do Pride with you, and I left it canceled rather than coming back and saying, "Oh, let's do yoga. I'm not going." I did that one yoga class, and it was restorative, mind you. I came back and closed my eyes and didn't lift my head off the couch. It was that kind of day. But I was thinking, if I had it in me to crawl my ass out of my dark hole, that an edible might be the thing. I tried that once, and it was the one thing that broke the headache.
Yeah. Well,
so,
it's funny because
if you had said it to me, why didn't you say, "Gabby, I'll bring you an edible and you'll be fine"?
Well, because I already took the edible, thinking that you were going with me, which I actually got.
Why would you take it without me, though? See, therein lies the problem. Wait for me.
Well, the problem ended up being I got super sick, and Michael says that he thinks I got a little bit of heat stroke.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Because the day before, I was out hula hooping in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why mine is hormonal, but also I think I was out for 3 hours in the sun hula hooping, and I hadn't hula hooped in a year.
Yeah.
Teaching classes with pounding music, no microphone.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Loved it. It was a lot.
Yeah. So I got my morning pages done. I haven't. So my meditations.
I've stopped counting, by the way. Are you still counting?
I want to pick it up again. Like, I know we only have like 1 week left.
I know we have a week left, but and what's funny is I stopped counting and I started going into the void. Our coffee shop. I'm pointing over at them. I go there every day now. I've always been so good about not spending, and now I'm buying coffee every day of my life.
But on the same note, that's kind of like a good thing for you.
It is. It is. It's finding the flow. It's it's doing something. It's prosperity.
It's also like for you.
And it's community, and
it
gets
is.
me out of the
It's
house. It might be just half a block away, not even next door, but I'm out of the house.
Well, what's really funny is that she doesn't really have much of a choice. It's one of the 3 places that her dog pulls her to. They were telling me.
She's looking at us right now. Kelly's like, "Yes, I do. I sure do." They love her there.
I was in there talking to the person who was working behind the counter, and he was like, "Yeah, generally Kelly comes in here before Gabby does," and I mean, literally, it's Kelly pulling Gabby in here.
It's so like I have to buy something half the time. Like I can't just walk in there.
Yeah.
And that's what you see Kelly with the crystal shop. She's like, "I'm going in."
Yeah.
There's no and if I don't go in, like it'll be closed sometimes.
Yeah.
I have to pull the door and show her that it's closed, that the door won't open. And still she's like, "But please."
Yeah. What was it? Oh, what about your time ins? So you mentioned that you
Yeah, I meditated in the bathtub with turmeric and peppermint.
Ooh, nice.
Anti-inflammatory and Epsom salt yesterday, and it helped. I'm good today.
Yeah.
It broke it.
Michael was having mouth problems, and I was like giving him turmeric and like everything.
Clove oil. For mouth.
Well, he did do the clove oil as well.
Yeah, turmeric and ginger. Cinnamon is also anti-inflammatory, but clove oil is the best for the mouth.
Yeah,
That's the one,
I've been making.
and it helps with pain.
I've been making golden milk, which is literally has cinnamon and turmeric and like all of these spices.
So yummy.
It is so yummy. Have you had it?
We talked about this. I do it in my oatmeal.
Oh yeah.
So it is. It's almost set. So my oatmeal is yellow. I make a yellow oatmeal, and so that's what So not only did I take a bath yesterday, I also had oatmeal.
Yeah.
And I put the turmeric, the cinnamon, the ginger, everything in it to get rid of the headache, and it worked.
So Gabby, I'm transitioning
To the chapter. Of which she's like, "Gabby, by the way." So you did your other stuff, but did you do this?
Oh, I wasn't gonna say that. I was just gonna ask you this wonderful question, and we were gonna start with this.
Okay.
If money were no object, what would you truly desire to do?
I would still want. I would want to run the most spectacular yoga program. And travel the world teaching yoga in exotic places and having fun with people and meditation. If money was no object, just going all over the world teaching yoga and meditation and swim in warm water.
What's really funny is at the end of the chapter for the prosperity points, I did most of them. There were 2 I did not do. One of them was take a 25-minute walk, which I just never got around to doing, and the other one was a creative exercise throughout your life, and I just didn't get to those 2, but I got all the rest of them. I am all about learning so much. That's what I want to do. Is I want to learn. I want to take classes. I want to but I'm the same way. What do I want to do? I want to do exactly what I'm doing. I want to be making this podcast. I want to be making another podcast. I want to be organizing things.
I would love to get people behind us so that we could just podcast and teach and do all day, every day. I'd like to get the machine in motion. I don't want to handle any communication. I don't want to do social media. I know,
which is really funny because I feel like we had a meeting for Serendipity Loft, which is our new space, which we're probably going to be going live within the next couple weeks.
Yay! That's awesome.
Couple weeks.
Yeah.
So
loft it up, baby. It's gonna get lofty.
It's gonna get lofty.
It's gonna get lofty.
And
it's so serendipitous.
Yes, it is. Oh, I have a funny thing to say about that. So yesterday we were talking, and I had mentioned I was talking about you and how Gabby, we need a name, we need to nail down the name so that we can so that Gabby, who is all over the place with teaching yoga and swim, so that we can really start just advertising, be oh, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it.
Send Gabby into the world with cards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's basically Gabby, go do exactly what you're doing. Plus cards.
Yeah, and I can do the in-person stuff. I can just but
Yeah, so
And then-
so we were talking about that, and obviously the Lunar Fair came up, right? So the Lunar Fair is this beautiful, beautiful market that they do here in New Jersey twice a month for the new moon and full moon. And I had mentioned
and you can get dressed up and you can do makeup. Josh is not doing it justice. And there's like 150 vendors and it's very witchy.
It is very witchy. And there was drag queens last time.
There were drag queens and there were mushrooms and jellyfish people. It was so great.
Oh,
I did not wear wings or makeup.
I know, because we did not tell her that you can wear wings and makeup. So
sad.
But I was talking about this, and like we were talking about like, oh, their wait list is like pages and pages and pages long, which you would expect, right?
Mm-hmm. To get it into the Lunar Fair?
Except, yeah, to get into it. But we have a friend who's been doing it. And I was like, sooner or later, like I'm sure I could just go with her. Like it wouldn't be an issue. She would be happily, like, as long as. So what's really funny is like I bring this up to the meeting that we had last night. Guess who calls me? Who sends me a text message today and asks me to, and I had to turn it down because I have to.
No.
I was like, any other time I would be able to schedule something, but like.
I know, it happened to me today too.
Yeah, like even I said I wanted to go help you with swim today, and I can't do that because I have to go watch, like, because we went and did the marriage certificate today. I have to go do the dog, and by do the dog I mean.
Have we even talked about that you got married?
Yes, you wouldn't shut up about it last week.
Okay. And you're getting married again?
And I'm getting married again, and my family's coming. I'm really excited about that.
You wear a fantastic red dress. It's got ruffles. It's got a little.
And maybe
skirt.
we'll. Oh yeah. Well, we have 1 week, and that'll be a week off, so I don't have to worry about recording a podcast that week because we can do a week off that week because my family's here. So yeah. So like I feel like when it comes to if money were no object, it's like, well, we're really lucky to some degree because we are kind of doing exactly what we want to be doing. Like,
I'd like to travel again.
I would too. I agree.
Yeah.
I would like to travel.
And the thing about getting on the class schedule that we're gonna do right now for summer, I'm tied. I'm really tied here.
Yeah.
So classes do make me feel there's an accountability and an integrity that go along with them. So if money were not an object, still keeping that integrity, but also looking to the integrity of me.
Yeah.
Like, how do I nourish and feed and support the things that I love? Too?
And I think, and what's really funny is I think that's also something that you need to keep in mind, and I need to keep in mind too, as like
balance.
as we go into these new endeavors,
Yeah.
is like, okay,
Create the balance.
yeah. So like
From the get-go.
And I feel like we can. I feel like we're all going into this with this idea of a new paradigm in mind. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't necessarily have to, like, none of us want to work.
Yeah, that's one of the shifts that came out. I think everybody's got the new paradigm. For me, I can't even get back to the old paradigm.
Yeah.
Like that old person, she's just. It's,
well, and but also
gone.
with you, but that's good though because
it's great and it's bad. Like I said, balance.
Yeah.
Like. I was talking about social media today with a friend that I used to do a lot of social media with, and I loved it. I actually at one point in time was quite the opposite. I loved email. I loved social media. I loved communication.
I remember when you were telling me about constant contact and like, yeah, I had it all down and I could teach you how to do this. And then you're like,
and it was constant contact with Gabby, and I did it all the time, and I look at it and I look at that old way of being and that old person, and I just get tired.
Yeah.
I immediately shut down. But it's interesting, getting it burned out, and I do think it was just burned out of me.
Yeah,
like
I feel that.
My life exploded, and on the other side of it,
social media was just a burnt husk.
Social media and a lot of other stuff was gone. And I look at it, and there was a dopamine effect that everybody talks about. I was definitely addicted to social media.
Yeah.
And so when it got burnt away, instead it only came across as toxic. And I think that between the two, I'd like to find, and Eckhart Tolle talks about it a lot, that there is an authentic way of handling social media and technology and all of this where it doesn't come across as toxic, but it's not addictive either.
Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned that. I'm gonna plug somebody else's program right now, because she's a good friend of mine, and I had told you about this program. So my dear friend Shannon Rose is putting out a program next week. It's going to be on the 5th at 7, which is a Tuesday, and I had told you that I wanted you to sign up for it. You still can. You can just do the replay.
Oh, okay.
But it's called Social Media Clear, and a lot of people, like, just on the conversation of social media, a lot of people right now are talking about how social media has gotten like even more toxic, and like people talked about how toxic it was to begin with, but now they're starting, like, energetically it's draining. It's draining, yeah.
I think that I'm not the only person in the world, and I think also coming out of a time where it was really great for us. It was during
well, it also wasn't really great for us.
Wait. But no, let me finish.
Okay.
During the pandemic, and when I was living in Mexico, I have to sneeze. It's not happening. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Bless you, Gabby.
Okay, so I'm living in Mexico, and I really can't get home to my kids. My kids are here in Jersey. Social media, WhatsApp, all of that was how we stayed connected. And during that time was when they were going into the city with the riots and everything.
Yeah.
And they were putting themselves on the front lines, and I was. So thank you, technology.
Being mom.
I was terrified.
Yeah, but there's also the other side of that, like social media, that was really toxic too, and just media in general. When we always talk about like the news cycles.
Well, and I think that we probably all, like, we're zoomed out. At first it was kind of like, oh, the introvert in me is like, oh, I don't have to go anywhere or do anything for the next, year or so of my life, no problem. But then there's only so much that you can absorb without producing. And that's what it felt like. You were constantly absorbing social media, and it is fulfilling to only so much.
Well, it's like what you were talking about. You were talking about like being burnt out. It's like that's exactly.
I think we all
And so like even for me, one of the things that I'm working on now. So I oh, by the way, if you want to find Shannon's social media clear, you can find it on her social media page by Shannon Rose, or at by Shannon Rose on Facebook, or on Instagram. By Shannon Rose on Instagram.
Clear social media on social media.
Yeah. So I'm going through one of her programs. I took part in her 6-month endeavor called the Vow Academy, and I worked as her admin from that and took the program. And when I'm going back now and like rewatching a lot of the things that like were done in 2020 and like that are all part of the program, like add-ons. And one of the things that I put down on like I'm gridding out like my 4 modern creations, right? And a lot of them was like a personal modality practice is what I called it, which is basically like doing my devotional practice, like meditation and things like that. Then I had yoga teacher initiation, and then the chakra and shadows, which we'll be talking about soon, which is a program that Gabby and I are going to be working on. So like these are the programs that I'm working on. But the 4th one that I had was called, I put social media for business, for personal and business as art. And there was something about that really came through as I was like downloading, as I was like channeling and downloading this. And I was realizing as like, yeah, like I love
Canva.
Yeah, I love Canva.
It's creative for you, right?
I love Canva. I love writing like my Instagram posts. And I was like, yeah, it really is art, but I need to start like
looking at it
as art instead
as creative, as a creative process.
And like honestly, I thought about you too, because like I know how much Gabby tends to stay off of Instagram. She actually did a really good Instagram live the other day.
I was chubby.
Oh, Gabby.
It was awful.
Well, she was on Instagram for once in her life. Besides the one time that she used Instagram to create her Instagram page.
Yeah.
But what I noticed about you is you like utilizing pictures and words to tell a story in much the same way people use comic books. My superhero friend. But I think you can look at it as art as well, and like that might help you change your perspective of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you can do most of it like off Facebook. So you don't have to like be like scrolling through Facebook. You can work on your pictures on your phone. You can do your writing on your phone, and then just copy and paste it, which I think might be a good way for you to go about it.
It's actually getting attention that is the hard part for me. Is I feel like I don't pay enough attention to the attention.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back and thank everybody for their comments, and honestly, that's the right thing. That's the gracious thing to do. It just it overwhelms me.
Yeah.
I'm not like that in real life. Like I'm
Yeah.
very grateful and thankful for connection and community and everything, but for some reason it's that just doesn't.
Yeah.
I think I still see it as responsibility rather than coming from a truly authentic, gracious place.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know.
Well, and maybe that's like, this is like, I feel like a lot is changing right now when it comes to the social media, like the energetic grids that are surrounding social media. And I do think they were created for very egocentric and egotistical means. And they're used by that, and I've used it like that. I've used it for pity parties before.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm not like pretending that I'm not, I have not been part of the problem, but it's not like, we all have room to change, we all have room to grow, and that's part of.
It's young. Social media has been alive only in our generation. It's a very.
It is not even old enough. It is not old enough to drink yet, Gabby.
I know. Even though we feel like it's part of our day-to-day life, it's so ingrained and enmeshed now. This is still a very young thing that has happened.
Sorry, we have
in terms of like
we have Kelly
radio
here.
and television and telephone. They're all kind of youngish.
Yeah.
But social media is a baby still.
Oh, well, I think social media is old
So
enough to
we're all
buy
learning.
cigarettes now.
Oh, congratulations. Go smoke it up.
Yeah. Well, I always say this. I always judge social media based on my senior year of high school. So the year I graduated, which was 2004, I remember going into college and Facebook being around. Like Facebook being brand new.
It was actually started on college campuses, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's where
well,
they.
Mark Zuckerberg never graduated college. He just
But I
created
think
Facebook.
that I have a whole bunch of friends that started it on campus before it was Facebook. Like that was where they piloted it.
Yeah. Gabby with all of her connections.
It was originally the Facebook.
The Facebook?
The
Okay, so
Facebook.
we're prosperity and our dreams. So we did our money as our map. We talked about that. Oh, speaking of which, I think this actually transitions very well to the next right thing. So this has been coming up for me a lot lately, actually. Yet again, when I was doing that training yesterday, it is always talking about.
This is a great line. Here we go.
Okay.
This is Julia speaking. There is only one action we ever need to take. The next one.
Yes. That is a beautiful, beautiful.
That is great.
And I feel like
Stayed in action.
yeah, and it's also
Momentum.
like, it's also
Velocity.
not overdoing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not asking you to create this long list of things that you need to do. It's just doing one thing. And I told you that I'm doing like this 21-day personal program that I've set up, right? It is sometimes so hard to get the momentum going. But then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do one thing, and I do the easiest thing on the list, and then I do the next easiest thing.
I wish
And
my
then-
house was like that.
and then-
For some reason,
And then
I'm in that.
I feel like, okay, I can do the hardest thing. And then once you got the easiest and the hardest thing, everything else is just like so easy to move through. And I put a lot of things on this list, guys. It's really kind of insane how many things I put on these lists. And I have gotten everything done to a point. So like, well, I said yesterday I was gonna do the chapter 11 prosperity points. I did everything except 2. If I don't do my 20-minute walk, which is like a walking meditation, I do a 10-minute meditation. So there's
So
corresponding.
you're not giving up.
Yeah, it's just like I'm
making
adjustments. Yeah, which I think is perfectly fine. It's my program. I can do what I want.
It's my program and I cry if I want to.
But there's also a lot coming through about with the shadow aspect of it. It's like I'm still learning a lot, and I'm still pulling a lot from it. Even if I'm not delving deep, there's time for that, and it's not right now. What about never too late? This is where Gabby didn't read this, but she did read The Artist's Way. This is where she's talking about, like, I would do this if...
She talks about that. There are two self-limiting beliefs that we use on ourselves a lot. One is, I'll do it when I retire.
Yep.
And the other is, I'm too old.
Yeah.
So, for a long time, I said I was too old to dress like this. And I'm like, fuck it.
When did you do that? I've never seen you.
I wore black for a good portion of my life. I'm counter aging. Like, I'm getting younger as I grow up. Yeah, you didn't know the old me.
Thank God.
The drabby Gabby.
Drabby Gabby.
Drabby Gabby. Yeah, I'm getting better, actually. Actually, in terms of thinking about it, though some things are so unattractive and I miss them to me now, there have been so many boundaries that I've lifted off of myself too.
And there's also boundaries that I think you've put down that are really healthy. Like,
and in terms of having them.
Yeah.
At all, whatsoever.
Yeah.
I never, yeah. So know what a boundary was before this.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like,
So what are you waiting to get older for? What are you waiting until you retire?
So it was funny that you mentioned that, because all of my things are like, even when I was like younger, like, if I was younger, it's more along the lines of, if I was younger, I would have told my younger self to do this. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's kind of like, that's how I took, like, it's weirdly how, that's where my mind went to this exercise. Yeah. And if I were older, I'm going to have kids, so I'd be doing stuff with my kids, you know?
Yeah, if I was older, actually, I would say get over it. Just get over it. Get the fuck over it. Yeah. I look at my younger self, and what I would say to my younger self, I would say to me now as well, in that, God, I could have ruled the world when I was in my 20s. I had no idea the power of, you're gonna hate me for it, but I'll say of an attractive woman, an attractive young woman. And it's good that we don't know the power of that, because we would do something.
Yeah, but there's also the chance of, like, of being like that attractive young woman, like, as much as you want to believe that, like, oh, she could rule the world, it only takes one person, and I say one person, it could be a freaking parent, to make that into a wounded attractive woman.
Oh, that's the thing, is looks never, I can't say they never. Many times in my life, being attractive didn't work on my behalf. It attracted the wrong thing.
Yeah. I don't like, and that's what, like, as much as I want to be like, I would tell my younger self to do this. And,
boundaries, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the lines of, like, yeah, that is like, yeah, you're doing fine, kid.
You learn it as you go.
You're doing, like, that's all that I would have to tell myself, is like,
you're doing fine, kid.
You're doing fine, kid. You know?
I love that, Josh. Well,
because even then,
in terms of what,
trust me, I was stupid, and you don't need someone to rub it in that you're being stupid. You don't need someone to, like, rub it in that you're failing. You need someone to be there when you when you pick yourself up again.
Exactly.
Because in the end, even if somebody's helping you up, you're still picking yourself up, because it takes a lot of work to not just sit down and let yourself be on the ground.
I spoke to somebody today that is retiring, and my advice to him was literally do Artist's Way.
Oh, who is that?
David, I think it's his last name. I ran into him with my friend Lissa, and he was talking, ironically, he was talking about cleansing, that he's going to retire and he's going to clean out his Facebook and all his social media.
That's funny.
of only the people that he actually wants to stay in contact. And he's like, don't worry, kid, you made the cut. Like, thank you.
It's funny that no matter what, when you're being your older self, or you're being yourself now talking to your younger self, it's like you refer to everybody as kid. Everybody's kid. Your kid, your kid, your kid.
Yep. Don't worry, kid, you made the cut. She's like, thank you very much. And, like, we'll consider this a check-in right now, that I would like to remain on in your social media sphere, your realm. Wow, you could think of it. I'm Mormon already. The great hierarchy in the sky has already happened. Your pyramid has happened in social media.
What do you mean?
Well, if you think of it in terms of influence, like every person that you draw into social media, you get their influence a little bit too. So it's like the great big pyramid scheme. Mormonism, they baptize all their relatives after they're dead. And so you get your own planet and your own solar system depending on how many wives you had. That's the old Mormonism, but now it's just how many people you've baptized. Weird. So they're all under you in heaven.
That sounds...
So social media is like they're all under you in heaven.
You know, you say things like that, and like I know it about the Mormon Church, but then like it comes to me again, and I'm still suddenly flabbergasted. But then I realize,
you don't get your own planet unless you have 3 wives.
Yeah, but
you're never gonna get your own planet, Josh. You just can't.
You do not tell me how many wives I can have.
Good luck with that. Michael will tell you how many wives you can have.
As many as I want.
Yeah?
Yeah, probably not. You're right.
We live in wives.
Well, the thing is that none of the relationships would ever be consummated, so we'd just be like legal wives.
He takes Gabby and that's it.
Yeah. But no, it's really funny. I say something like that about the Mormon Church, and at the same time, I'm talking about like ethereal cat aliens that I commune with during channel. You know, like it's just as.
I mean, you know, they got wives and you got
cat people.
Cat people.
Yeah.
Catty.
Cat people, aliens.
It gets catty all around.
Don't forget all the goddesses I've talked to before.
Yeah.
Jesus. So, get everybody in there.
Jesus is a good man.
So is Mary Magdalene. She is a good man.
Man?
I'm kidding. You said...
Don't take our Mary from us.
No.
Let us have our Marys. The Hail Mary.
Yeah. So...
On that.
Yeah, I feel like this was just a really fun conversation.
And we did have we covered the gamut. Jesus, Mormonism, Mary.
Well, I feel like the most important thing about this chapter is just staying the course.
Well, when you get to the end of Artist's Way, the great epiphany is life is an artist state. Yeah. And I think that's what she's saying here too.
Which was what I did. I got to cross off Artist State this week because I went to Pride by myself.
Yes! I didn't show up, so he gets to call it.
I did.
I'm going to call that Bath my artist state this week.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, I did that.
You know the problem with artist states that I've always had is that you're supposed to plan them beforehand.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I'm like, it's a date.
Oh, I actually did great artist states. So going up into the great headache, and this was the worst headache I've ever had in my life. This last migraine, I slept an entire day.
Lucky.
Yeah, right. But we went to this mask thing. Okay. I told you about it. It was like this guy goes to Bali and he makes all these masks and they get painted 40 times before they can even do the first layer of like colored paint. That's all the white paint. And they're carved out of trees. And you can't look at the mask. They have to put it on over your head, or you draw it out of the bag and put it on yourself without looking at it. And then the mask infuses you. You have to wear it for at least an hour. And it is archetypes. So the masks are all drawn, it kind of like Commedia dell'arte, where the masks are all archetypes. So there are only certain archetypes that the masks are. And there's goddess, whore. There is something yes and something no, but coming from like a generous place of being. Yeah. Like a generous yes and a generous no. It's not that I'm just a no, I'm just being in my no right now or present to it, like boundaries. And then there are all these different gods and goddesses in the mask too, represented. So you put this mask on and you don't see it and you let it infuse your dance and you just dance your ass off.
Do you get to ever see what your mask look like?
No, you never see it. When you take it off, you finally see it. And at first my mask made me feel kind of happy and chipper. And as the night went on, I was so full of rage. It was also, by the way, the same day that Roe v. Wade came out.
Oh, that makes sense.
And I just...
You mean came out makes it sound like a good thing. Let's
No.
just put this in context. Everyone who's watching knows, but if they see it 50 years from now when things get not so crazy,
when we're all living Handmaid's Tale,
I would like to think the other side when
you're so positive.
I'm trying.
That's because you're a man.
I'm still a gay man.
I know, and you're next. I'm telling you, you're next. They went after the women, now they'll go after the gay men.
I mean, technically, as this doesn't. I read an article.
You're a white man, which works on your behalf, I have to say.
I'm also married to somebody who isn't white.
You just keep making all these bad choices. What can I say?
I'm gonna tell him you said that.
I love you. I love Michael too. He's an amazingly wonderful choice.
But yeah, I feel like this chapter and the next one is very much about staying the course and helping you keep on track.
Yeah.
And
that was my artist date, and it was staying the course and keeping on track.
Yeah. So I think stay the course, keep on track.
Go dance your ass off.
Go dance your ass off. Okay.
Your ass off.
Once again, I am your host, Josh Bell. You can find me on social media at joshua.t.bell on Instagram, or just look up Joshua Bell on
the bells.
Facebook.
The bells.
And then you can find
Gabby.
Can
I take the Creery off of everything? Can I just be Gabby on Instagram?
I don't think you just be. I'm just Gabby. That could be. So she is at Gabby. Is it just Gabby Creery?
Gabby Creery.
So that's Creery. And then you can find her on Facebook as Gabby Creery.
Gabby Creery.
So
I used to be Lisa Creery, but I changed that.
Now you're just confusing people.
I know.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Love you.
Mwah.
Love you.